Hola.
Hello,
Welcome back
hello,
to
friends.
the Backpackers Blitz live stream podcast, whatever y'all want to call it.
Number
We
11.
are number 11, because anybody's paying attention to that. We are one person short tonight, Mr. Canada. Mr. Canada is too busy hanging out with his real friends tonight, so we are on our own. So tonight's plan is absolutely nothing. We have no plan for tonight. I was supposed to plan tonight and did not plan tonight. So the plan
We're just
tonight is
happy
that
you
there is
showed
no
up.
plan tonight. I made it. That's the big important thing. All right.
Yeah,
So
maybe the audience can chime in and give us some ideas on things to talk about. Huh?
yes,
What do you think
well,
of that?
we do have a couple things to talk about, but more ideas would be helpful for sure. The
So
first
aim for
question
10
is how long
freezes.
before Tim freezes? Yeah. Okay.
Everybody needs to take a guess. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 12 minutes, 5 minutes before Tim's face goes.
Yeah, exactly. And we always think that he's doing it on purpose, and turns out it's always for real. So as always, I am Chad from UGQ Outdoor, and I don't know how it's displaying on everybody else's side. I think Ben's on this side.
You got it
Ben
right,
from
Chad.
Hilltop Packs, and then the famous. What was your name again?
Tom.
Gear Pro Tim.
Everybody at my new employment is calling me Tom for some reason, so I'm going to go with Tom for a while.
You're just going with it? You're not going to correct anybody?
So before we do anything else, Tim, did you recently hit a milestone that you want to share on this live stream?
Oh, I didn't know you were going to bring that up, Chad.
I brought it up.
I am on the verge. Yeah, I'm on the verge of having a small Midwestern town's worth of subscribers on my YouTube channel. Damn near 4,000. Which
all right, so the goal is 4,000, and you are dangerously close, which means all of you that are listening who are not subscribed yet, go subscribe, get them over that 4,000 mark, because once you do, then what's happening?
Well, you're spoiling all the surprises, but I'm okay with that. Let's get this ball rolling. I'm going to do a giveaway thanks
so
you
can say nothing. You can leave it mysterious. You can spill the beans, whatever you want to do.
I'll leave it mildly. I'll do a little blend of both, actually. So, yeah, the two fine gentlemen joining me this evening happen to own businesses that have mediocre plus gear, and they have graciously decided to offer some gear towards my channel for a giveaway, and details to come. So, yeah. As Chad said, check out my channel. Probably be a week or two before I put up a video.
You have to be subscribed to him in order for it to count. So go subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Tim has one of the best makeup tutorial websites, YouTube channels. I mean, I screwed that up.
What did you say?
I was going to say you have one of the best makeup YouTube channels out there, and I screwed it up. I said, I don't know what I said, website.
Oh, makeup tutorials, you mean? Yeah.
Makeup tutorials. Yeah, I was trying to say that, and I said something else. So they're not all winners.
See how that would be.
Yeah, swing and a miss, McMillan. Swing and a miss.
Story of my life.
In other news, moving on. We do have one thing coming up that we wanted to talk about, which is Trail Days that is happening next week down in Virginia. For those of you that aren't familiar with Trail Days, it is one of the largest festivals that's associated with the AT in any way. Usually 30 to 40,000 people pass through, but all of your favorite vendors are there. And myself and, well, I don't know if you want to say or not, but I will be there at Ripstop by the Rolls booth. We're kind of doing a collab thing with them this year, so we'll be in their booth. So come see us. And Ben, you've never been to Trail Days. This will be my 5th time going.
It's my first time going. I don't have a booth or anything. I'm just going to go kind of under the radar. So if you see me, I'll give you a high five. I'll give you a hug. I don't care. I'm not scared. But I'm not going to have anything on this held up. I'll be kind of flying under the radar for this one, but absolutely come talk to me. And if no one talks to me, then I'm going to feel really sad.
Well, one thing I know about Trail Days is that unless you're covered head to toe in your branding, people will not recognize you. So wear as much Hilltop swag as you can.
Nope.
But one thing I do know is that there are a lot of people that have your gear on the AT. So
Joey's
I
gonna
think it
give me
will
a
be
hug.
really
That's all
fun.
that matters. As long as I get a hug from Joey,
Yeah,
I'm good
see,
to go.
I'm going to give you a hug too. So
Oh, you get 2 hugs.
I'm definitely. Man.
Yeah,
but it is a super fun event.
Yeah, Ben, you
So
need more
talk-
swag to
talk-
wear.
Not for the first one. I want to go around and like talk to other vendors. And I will. Here's my plan. I want to go talk to all the vendors I've never met before. I don't want to hang out in their booth with my gear on. I want to kind of help support them a little bit. Rope stop by the roll. You know, Chad's gonna be there. I'll wear one of Chad's hats if I can. If you have one big enough to fit my stupid head. Some other booths I want to go to. And again, I don't want to hang out with my gear on in their booth. So this year, kind of fly under the radar. Try to be respectful. Free hugs.
Yeah, I like that about you, Ben. I like that about you, but I am not that way.
That's okay. We've been there a few times. Now you're there to sell.
I dress like this going pretty much anywhere, and I don't care whose event it is or whose booth it is because I am a walking billboard always.
I'll do that next year.
So yes, come see us at Trail Days, and hopefully next year, either we're sharing a booth or we're gonna have booths right next to each other, or whatever we're gonna do. But we're gonna make that happen.
We're gonna do it. So real quick, Tom from Walker's World, you gonna be there, buddy? We haven't met in person yet. So Tom, let us know if you're going to be there.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you're going to be at Trail Days for sure, because
it's too much of a celebrity to blend in.
You will find out. You will find out at this event whether or not you're known or not. Because I thought one year I was going to go and everyone was going to know me, and I left crying uncontrollably. And it took me months to recover. Because even when I told people like UGQ Outdoor, they're like, "Who?" And I'm like, you know what? I don't even know why I bother coming to these things anymore.
I got a quick story real quick, and it's not even about backpacking. But so in my previous life, I used to travel the country as a DJ. I did mobile nightclubs. I did nightclub DJing and locally did some mobile stuff, mostly nightclubs. And I worked for this company. It was a remix company. And I had a big deal. We did work for a bunch of radio stations all across the country. I got contracted to do one of the biggest DJ conventions as the lead act in Las Vegas. And I never flew in a plane before. I never did anything. Everywhere I was going, I was driving. This is my first big event. I'm flying out there, this big festival in Vegas, not a festival, big, it's like 7,000 DJs at this event. And I'm going to be the one up on stage. So I'm kind of nervous. But I get off the plane and this guy stops me, and he has one of our CDs that we used to distribute to the radio stations. He says, "Are you Ben McMillan?" I said, "Yeah." And he gave me a pen and I autographed it. Now I just got off the plane. My head is so big at this point. I get to the festival. The rest of the day, not a single person asked me for an autograph the entire time. So like I was all amped up in my own head that I'm going to be amazing. Everybody's going to recognize me. And until I walked on the stage, no one had a clue who I was. So I'm kind of.
But you have still signed one autograph in your life. Not many people can say that.
One autograph. Yep. I think I probably thought I was somebody else.
Actually, that's 2 more than me. I actually had something I signed for somebody and they gave it back, so that kind of counted as a negative. So
that's for a refund.
That's funny.
All right. So maybe what we should do then, I just quickly looked up some questions that I think we can ask the audience. So now maybe would be a good time, Ben, for you to drop that link if anybody wants to get on to join us and to answer some of these questions. Let me pull up. And basically what I did, just looked up some random questions. So the first question I'm going to ask, I'll ask to you guys first. Anybody that's listening, if you want to join the live stream, Ben, just put the link in the comments. Click on that. We will add you in. So the question is, what is the longest that you have ever gone without showering? And how long in that process did it take before you to realize that you are the most foul human being on earth? And how long was it past that point that you still continued to not shower? So Ben, I'll let you answer that first. What's the longest you've ever gone without showering?
Probably just on a backpacking trip, probably 5 days. That was it. And I could not wait to get home that's the first thing I did was jump in the shower. That I had no desire to keep stinking forever. But I didn't notice how bad I was. So I was actually in the car. And that's when I started to notice how bad I was. But yeah, 5 days is probably it.
See, for me, it's not the smell, it's the moistness. If you get what I'm saying, it's the swamp, it's the
moist,
it's the gator juice. If you catch my drift,
you just killed the
gator juice. Oh God,
It's when I think it's one of those things where I feel like I can deal with the smell. It's the overall uncomfortableness that you get at a certain point of not showering. It's not even that I care about what other people think about what I smell like. It's truly just the own. I'm just gonna stick with moistness. The moistness is what gets me.
So we don't have
What about
female
you?
listeners.
What about you, Tim?
Well, for me, I'm probably about the same as Ben. My longest trip ever, I think, was 5 nights. And I guess for me, the phenomenon that is the most interesting is when you get to your first gas station to take a civilized bowel movement, and you pull down.
There he goes. Whoever guessed 12 minutes is the winner. Real quick, Anthony Stone. Yes, I will be there tomorrow, buddy. We have our little storefront. It's mostly a sewing shop, but you can come in and watch us make all the gear. And yeah, come on in. We'll give you a full tour. We'll show you the whole thing. Just maybe shoot us a message on our Facebook page what time you're coming through, and I'll make sure there's people there waiting for you, including myself, probably.
So hey, fellas, before we move on, since I'm going to try the old phone approach. So
come on back, Tim.
Yeah, we lost him. Anyways, to address this comment, this dude in the do-rag is the one and only, the famous Goat's Milk. I mean, come on, who doesn't know who Goat's Milk is?
Artist formerly.
It says it right there. Oh, it changed? What happened? Did I miss something?
No, I'm just having fun with it.
Okay. And 2 holes.
Because I'm still calling. And 2 holes.
2 holes.
Oh, man. All right, so we're going to start with you, Goat's Milk. What's the longest you ever went without showering? Was it on a backpacking trip? Was it because you were just too lazy? You were trying to beat a record? What was the scoop?
It was on a backpacking trip. It was way back in the often forgotten 90s when I went to Philmont as a 17-year-old. And we went 10 days, I think, without showering. So we were funky.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's funky. So is for you, is the biggest concern the smell or the moistness? Because for me it's the moistness. For Ben, it's the smell.
I wouldn't call it moistness. I think it's more the stickiness. The combination of dirt, sweat, sunscreen, and all that. Nasty.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The moistness. I don't mean like. I mean like the layer of moist grime that becomes a film on your skin and then feels more moist in certain areas than others. Is more. Let's just say if you were to look south, there's a certain type of flap, if you will, that behind said flap can get more.
We're losing.
I think you hear what I'm saying. So.
I know what you're saying. I will say that there is an advantage to living in a state that doesn't have as much humidity, because it's less, like I said, it's less moist, more sticky. So I don't know.
See, in Michigan, it's 112% humidity year round. So
we have a listener who just messaged me. It's Amy, who works at our shop, and she said she is taking a shot every time you say the word moist. So,
she's gonna be.
She is going to be very, very uncomfortable by the end of this.
Oh, she's already drunk. She already misspelled every other word.
One thing I will say though about the showering thing is, if you're in a group, make sure that you don't shower first, because after you shower, you will become painfully aware of how bad everybody else now smells, and you have to deal with that until they're done. So, wait until the end and save yourself, because it's be blissfully unaware.
Yeah, my biggest concern is just getting the moistness taken care of. So, I'm in that shower as soon as I have the chance. Speaking of, well, actually 2 holes. I want you to answer this question first, and then I want to ask another follow-up question about showering on backpacking trips with some of the newer innovations out there with portable shower systems that are more backpacker friendly. And if any of you have any experience with them, 2 holes. What's the longest you ever went without showering? Was it on a backpacking trip, or was it when you went through a midlife crisis, major depression? Tell us as much detail that will make this show much more juicy as possible.
Okay. Like Ben, I had a former life in music. I played guitar and played bass in some bands that were fortunate enough to tour a little bit. So I think my longest streak might be shared dually between backpacking trips and living the rock and roll lifestyle. Probably 6 days, 7 days stretch without showering. Backpacking, I've done the same amount.
That yeah, I feel like 3 days you can definitely start noticing a difference pretty quickly. My
Yeah, I think
mine is
the
not.
tour van. I was gonna say in the tour van, like Ghost Milk was saying, like when you're with a group of people, you notice it like the first one to get clean, but you also notice each other a whole lot. People notice you because you're traveling in a group. So we
Well, and then
show up places and
when they stand
people
up,
would know that we
you
were
can
there.
see all the moistness, right? I mean, that's a thing.
Yeah, sure.
And you look at that moistness, and usually there's a smell that comes along with the moistness, and each person's moist scent is very unique to them. It's like a fingerprint.
What did
And
Amy ever
there
do
are
to
certain
you?
certain people's moistness is.
Amy's gonna have to go to the liquor store now. She's out.
Yeah.
Amy's about to go to the emergency room.
No, she's got an IV of whatever she's drinking just going in her right now, like bypassing the shot.
Whole bottle.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, no, it's definitely the moistness is my biggest issue, and so what's funny to me is that I'm actually the type of person that I like, as weird as it sounds, I like to actually shower every day, and I know a lot of you that actually are, hikers and stuff. You probably are used to going 2, 3, 4 days. I am not. However.
Sorry, I had to do it. Sorry.
Listen, I've been looking at that concerned look on his face for the last 5 minutes, and honestly, I felt very strongly about doing the same thing. But
like he's being robbed right now. He's like at a gas station being robbed. It's like, here's the money.
He literally looks like
just take the money.
There's a kids movie called something Mitchell's and the Machines or something like that. But the dad is like super illiterate when it comes to technology and YouTube and all that. And that's exactly what the look that Tim just had on his face was, that look of trying to figure out how technology works, where he was so confused. And
hi, Tim.
Hey,
there he is.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, buddy.
Yeah.
Ooh, fantastic.
Ooh.
All right,
you got a new hat on?
Oh yeah, the Sedona Hiker House.
I thought that said moist on it for sure.
I have one of those on order from moist.com.
Nice.
Don't look that up.
Don't look that up.
And there goes the search history.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're all screwed. Okay, so there have been some companies that have come out recently. I know Flextail is one of them. They've recently come out with a portable shower system that's basically just a shower nozzle with a little tube that goes to a battery operated pump that can drop in any stream, whatever, and give yourself a quick rinse off. Have any of you ever used said thing on a trail, and would you ever consider it? And how many days would you have to be out there before you would consider it?
Nope, not me. I ain't carrying that.
Yeah, I would have to say probably not. I'll find a
I
lake.
would let someone else carry it. I might try it, but I'm gonna let them carry it. Yeah.
I'll use it, chat, if you hold it. How about that for you?
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
All right. Or you can just get my back while you're back there.
That's always the hardest part to reach. It always requires an extra hand.
I like to just do like
I mean,
a cup and a splash.
What?
The stream doesn't weigh
This is
anything. You
going
don't have to
nowhere
carry it
fast.
with you.
It always is, and I think that's exactly why we always have less than 20 people watching. It's the same 20 people always, and they're the ones with the sickest, twisted minds on the internet. So
Definitely.
here we are.
I gotta contend with that. Do you have any idea how sick people are, Chad?
I know, and I know you know better than anyone, so I'm just gonna mute you before anything comes out of your mouth that should.
The man, the myth, legend,
All
John
right.
Kelly.
Yeah, we got some live streaming legend here critiquing us right now.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
you know
okay.
what? Listen, until he gets in the live stream and has something to say about it, I don't want to hear from John. And I'll take that compliment, Chad. What was the compliment? What compliment did I give somebody? What is this referring to?
That we're a bunch of sick, twisted people, I think.
Oh, yeah, well, I know him, and that's, I guess it's more validating. We got Goat's Milk and Two Holes and Tim and Ben and me all on here at the same time. I mean, let's just let that soak in for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
worried.
pun intended.
Tim
All
still
right.
looks.
I'm looking up another question that we're going to ask.
Well,
That was a
Oh my
smooth
god!
transition.
Listen, I'm gonna vote no on that one. They can keep the poop talk. We got to do something different than the moist crew. That's freaking hilarious.
I mean, I don't
Oh
know
my
if we
God.
even fully addressed my biggest concern about the moistness aspect of things, but I guess we can move on.
Moving on.
Because I find myself,
Time for a
especially in the
refreshing
summertime,
breeze.
My wife will not let me
I was
join
just getting
anything
to
called
that
the
point
moist
actually
crew.
by saying that in the summertime, you definitely want to choose to not wear underwear to minimize the moistness. Make sure that the shorts that you're wearing or the pants that you're wearing are extremely breathable to, again, cut down on the moistness. And it's not just the front moistness, it's the rear moistness too. I mean, listen, it's a real struggle. And Ben, as you will smell at trail days, you will understand moistness to a new level that you never experienced because you will be encountering people that have literally not showered in 20, 30 days. And it's apparent.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes can't wait.
One of the biggest things I noticed.
Vapor rub to take care of that.
Well, it starts off as moisture, and then once it dries, then it itches. That's one of the biggest problems is the itch that comes along with it.
But my thing is that the moistness I'm referring to is when the itch reliquefies. That's the moistness that I'm really discussing. It's when it gets beyond the crusty stage and re-evolves back into moist that then it becomes toxic. And in fact, no, you know what? Let's move on.
Did anyone else tell the chat
Someone
to
needs to
not
go
play
over
on the
to
show?
Amy's house and make sure she's still alive.
Yeah, Amy has checked out. She has left the building. All right. Who else has got something? Because I literally, the only thing I have to my name is moistness, and I feel like that's enough of a legacy for me to.
I do want to talk more about trail days though, and get off the moisture topic a little bit. So I've never been there. So what is like some of the biggest things going on?
Most valuable player.
Oh my god!
I
didn't know John was funny.
Number one comment on the live stream so far. That's definitely going to be a T-shirt. Moist valuable.
That is
there you go.
Freaking hilarious.
Moisture control right there. He knows he knows about the moistness. Goat's milk is not a stranger to the liquefied itch that I'm referring to. So let's move on.
We're trying to get Doug, Doug from this guy right here, Backcountry Pilgrim. Been trying to get Doug to be on the show, and he finally tunes in tonight after 11 episodes, and this is what we're talking about.
He's never coming back.
Doug, turn your camera on and join us, buddy. Just go in a closet somewhere, turn your camera on, and here's the link for you. Join us for a few minutes. We won't talk about moisture anymore. Yeah. But talk more about trail days. I want to know what am I going to be looking for? What should I go see? What are some of the, besides the vendors, I'm going to talk to those guys. What else is going on besides the smell?
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Backpacker Radio from the Trek, that podcast. For everything I know, they have a booth there where they have a bunch of games and free giveaways.
Okay.
One of the games they have is people trying to break open a watermelon with their thighs.
I saw a video about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks pretty awesome. I'd like to scope that out. That'd be pretty cool.
So
I'm gonna check that out.
There's a ton of different vendors that do different things. As far as the event's concerned, there's tons and tons of food trucks. There's a bunch of novelty vendors that are selling, handmade like Etsy type stuff down on the far side, on the other side of the food. Like jewelry or like custom made Indian blankets or whatever. And then there's also tons and tons of places and things to do around Damascus, but there's also some of the really big vendors like Osprey and Gregory Backpacks and all them that do down near Tent City. They do full gear repairs and lots of different giveaways. So the whole event, almost every vendor does giveaways. Some do really big giveaways. Some are more modest. They're all free to participate in. You just have to be present.
How's it going, Doug?
So
We should all just talk.
it's fantastic.
Let's all talk like this.
He's in a room
My
full of
phone,
people.
but I'm talking this.
He's in water too.
Turn
He's
his
underwater.
echo off. If you can, man.
All right, I'll get that fixed up.
Anyway, so yes, Trail Days has lots and lots of events. Big hiker parade. Somebody's got something going on.
Okay, I think that's Doug's microphone.
Yeah, so they've got a big hiker parade that they do every year. It can the nightlife there can get quite let's just say moist. I guess that's a fitting word. It can,
That took all of 5 seconds.
Yeah, I'm staying in a hotel
From-
like just a quarter of a mile away. I figure which one it's
you'll
called.
be
but-
very moist.
Jesus.
I am staying in Tennessee, so I will be far away from the moistness. Although I did get an Airbnb with a hot tub, so actually that's not true. I will be moist in different ways.
Let's talk to our new friend Doug here. So, Doug, I've known you for a while now, buddy. Tell everybody where you're from, your YouTube channel. He's famous now. His YouTube channel is growing. Floor is yours, buddy.
He's got to unmute.
You're not talking to me, are you?
I am right now.
I heard famous. Yeah, backcountry pilgrim. I think I know everybody in here. I don't have my glasses on. Thomas, I'm not. I don't think I've met you before.
Two
Just
holes.
a hiker, dude.
Two
holes.
Nice
Yeah.
to meet you.
And friend Tim UGQ, you're the first quilt I ever bought. So you got a
There's
pretty
some noise
significant
going.
delay here. Sorry about
Yeah, Doug, I'm muting your microphone, but there's some crazy stuff going on over there. Sorry about that, man.
It's his alter ego.
Yeah, he's got some echo going on.
Yeah. Couldn't hear you, Doug. There's just a lot of noise going on. Something's going on. I'm not sure if you're at a party somewhere, but I really couldn't hear you.
Raver at the
So I
Pilgrim.
can talk a little bit on Doug's behalf. So Doug has, he is growing big time, isn't he, Ben? How big is he?
He is.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
And I
it's been
worded
growing
that
pretty
question
good.
terribly.
And the quality, I'll speak for him too. The quality of his videos has been going up over the past year or two. Doing much better than John Kelly does. John Kelly doesn't make videos anymore. So Doug's been picking up the slack and making some pretty cool stuff. But just quality wise, the way he does his voiceovers, the way he structures his videos, way cooler than John Kelly's videos. So
Yeah, he's very detail oriented, enviable. I will never be Doug.
I do have a
he does
question for
great
John
job.
Kelly since he's in the chat. John, why do you guys do your live streams at like 2:00 in the afternoon like an old man? I never get to see him anymore.
Same.
You should
Because
definitely
we eat
join
dinner
us.
at 4.
John, you should join us and tell us why you guys changed the format of your show. So here's the video link. Come in here and tell us why you guys changed the time of your show. It used to be like every Monday night, and now it's like Tuesday afternoons after your nap or something.
Listen, John, you get in the live stream or no more free gear. You got 20 seconds, or I will never send you something again.
That's not true.
We're so desperate now.
That's
We're
probably-
dishing out threats.
I really like John. He's
He's good.
been a
Dude.
good buddy.
He's good.
Yeah.
guy.
Set out. I'm telling you, you want that. I got some new things in the works that you want to be a YouTuber that tests. Just telling you right now.
Doug, as soon as you get your I know you have a camera set up and a microphone. Whenever you get that all set up, definitely let us know ahead of time. You can jump in there with us. Kind of hard to hear what he's saying. He's a good dude. He's been using our gear for a long time. Been talking to him off and on for a while. So
Yeah,
there's a few
I
guys
know
that I
that
really,
name.
really like. He's been around for a while. Not just because he's old, but like he's been using our gear for a long from the very beginning, just like John. There he is.
I knew it.
Okay, you have the floor, John. Tell us why you changed the format of your show. Not the format, but the time slot of your show.
Okay.
Go.
So
Wait. Before you answer that, is the reason that you got on because of my threat? Because it better be yes, or I'm booting you off.
sure, that was it.
You know what? Forget it.
Actually, I just wanted to talk to you, Chad. I mean, that's really what it was.
So he's muted. Let's move on.
God, we are killing it tonight.
Chad, all I wanted to do was
freaking
talk to you,
killing it.
man. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to get on
All
here
right,
with the
let's
most
hear it.
valuable player. So
Listen, if you make me that T-shirt, I swear to God, I will wear it so loud and proud it's not even funny.
okay, I'm telling the wife she's got the cricket. We're gonna make it tomorrow.
Let's do it.
I'm
Send
doing
it to me in time for Trail Days so that I can wear it and live stream from there with my very moist shirt on.
You got it, 100%. I'm making it. What size do you wear?
I can,
Medium.
let's just go with extra medium.
Extra medium. You got it. You got it. As
Thank
far
you.
as the podcast goes, really what it comes down to is that Jeremiah and I both have kids now, and we only get so much time with them at night, and we have to give up that time at night with our kids. And for both of us, it was just a whole lot easier for us to just go ahead and do that in the afternoons. I know it's not great for a lot of other people, but for us right now in this season, it works out really well for us. So
Listen,
I know it's not the
I'm
most
never doing
popular
anything.
thing, but I've never been popular anyways, so it works out well.
No, I've
I'm
always
literally
enjoyed watching.
never that time of day, so it works just fine for me.
Well, you
I
still
miss it.
watch us, so that's okay. That's no big deal.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
actually never seen the show.
Yeah,
I've
that's
watched
what
a
I'm saying.
lot of them. Almost every show you've had on Monday nights, I've watched almost every single one of them. The ones that are
I think the
recorded, I
only
don't.
one,
Go ahead, Chad.
the only one that I saw was it was years ago, and there was this really handsome guy that you had phoned in on there. Can't remember his name, but
Darwin.
no, it wasn't. It might have been. It might have been him. He's
Yeah.
very known for how handsome he is.
Yeah,
It's the eyes that he gives you every time.
yeah, it probably is. You're probably right about that.
So yeah, I mean that's the only one I've listened to. So
I just want to say
It's
of
just not
everybody on
Christian.
this panel, I think Tim, his facial expressions during this podcast have been by far the absolute best of anybody's.
Aren't they great?
That's all I
the
got.
Zoom-
That's all I
the
got
Zoom
because
has
my
been
audio doesn't work.
He doesn't know what's going on.
We hired him just to actually be like our hype guy. He kind of like when I say something, he does that like, it's all paid. It's
I just still
when you
think
get
it's
as big as
amazing.
me and Ben are, you can afford to hire paid actors to get on your live stream.
Well, I
Just
mean,
saying.
that's I've always said it's amazing that Hilltop Packs is the first company to ever have a spokesmodel. Like that's pretty awesome. And to find
That is
someone as
true.
good looking
I mean-
as Tim, I mean, he's stunning, really, if you think about it.
Well, it was more about what could I afford? Who could I afford?
Mine,
And that was Tim.
Mine is Joe Robin.
They pay coffee and gear.
People
Yeah, I
do
did a
actually.
free-
How did you get a hold of Tim? How did you hire Tim? And my answer is always the same thing. He's the only one I could afford.
He
It's
just
just,
would go away.
it's just a mutually beneficial relationship. It's worked out pretty good. Hopefully for Tim as well, but it's worked out good for us.
Listen, you can afford one whole more influencer than I can. I can't afford literally any of them. So, you're definitely doing better than I am. I have to actually go on a trip with them just to get my gear to show up in their videos. So,
Well, Tim takes it easy on us. He just gets paid by the project whenever he feels like working on it. He has complete control to do whatever he wants when he wants. He's not under any strict rules or anything. He just does his own thing, and 99% of the time it works out pretty good. And that 1%, I just delete the video. You never see it.
Hey, Chad,
we
I
what?
would definitely put your stuff in my video, but I'd have to make a video first. So
that is true. Also, I am waiting for that video you promised me with all that stuff I sent you. So.
oh, actually, that's coming sometime in the next year.
No, just messing.
So yeah, that was gonna be great.
You paid for it. I didn't even send you any. Oh no, I did send you something, but you paid for the other thing, and so it doesn't even count.
Yeah, I did pay for it, but you was nice enough to give me an extra one so I could show it off for people.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'm going to need that back. We're running a little short on sales, so I'm going to have to sell that one.
You got it, man.
So
You got it. I'll send it with the T-shirt.
just send it back with the T-shirt.
So, John, did you ever go to Trail Days yet? Have you been to Trail Days before?
No, Jeremiah and I've talked about it for years about going down and doing a live backpacking podcast stuff, but it's still during the school year, and with him being a teacher, we just haven't been able to do it. If it was like a month later, it'd be perfect. We'd be down there in a heartbeat, or even like 3 or 4 weeks later.
People still put their kids.
You know what you need? You need a substitute teacher. That's what you need.
You know, I keep telling him this, but he's not going for it. I try.
I'll do it.
Leave him behind. You get the substitute teacher. Take a new teacher there. I don't know any teacher.
I'm available all the time, so have him get a hold of me. I'll come substitute.
Well, the whole thing is, I mean, Jeremiah's all the personality in our podcast. So if he doesn't go, we're screwed, you know? So
that's not true. You guys are pretty much equals. You guys do a killer job. I know we're joking around, but you guys, I love your show. You guys do a really good job. You gotta get back to doing lives.
It was a lot
ever
of fun.
Since I made fun of Jeremiah for saying hawkers instead of hikers. I literally can't hear him say it. What's going on, hawkers? I'm like, what? Dude, that's not even a word.
If you do the closed captioning on YouTube, that's what shows up.
Does it really?
It actually says, "What's going on, hawkers?"
Oh,
Yeah.
dude,
So that's
it was.
You're not experiencing
Jonathan
something
was on-
everybody, all deaf people around the world hear that or see that every time they watch his videos.
Jonathan was
That's
on last
hilarious.
week, and I couldn't understand something he said last week. I don't even remember what it was, but it was so Kentucky that it was like I literally almost called you to translate so that I could understand what one of our co-hosts was saying to me in the live stream.
Well, some of you guys may have seen this.
Jonathan and him are from the same town, so it makes sense that you'd have trouble with that.
So YouTube is actually starting to do their own voiceovers. I don't know if you guys saw that in other countries. I think it's just a pilot program where some channels are doing that. I'd love to hear Jeremiah's videos in other countries and other languages automatically dubbed and to see what they try to figure out.
I would love to know how confused the people would be by the words that it would say they're actually saying.
It would just print at the bottom, "We've got nothing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
American slang. That's all it's saying.
You would think AI would get to the point where they could identify like Kentucky accents.
Hey, Doug's
There's
back.
Doug in a 1970s picture.
What's up, Doug?
How we doing? Is this better?
It is much better.
There you
Is
go.
this working?
It's not much better.
All right. I was just on my phone. I just wanted to get in on the moist conversation, but it looks like I'm a little behind. So I'll try to catch
no,
up
you're not.
and see what
Honestly.
happens.
The voice is behind.
Listen,
Okay,
I'm
we can
actually
bring
in
it
a
back? All right.
chair. It's not. This chair is not well ventilated, so I'm feeling a little moist at the moment. So I'm fine to bring it up whenever you're ready.
Is
The
that
joke is back.
where front and back came from?
Yes.
When I turned the video on, I was hearing about moist in the front and the back, and I was like, I got to get in on this. So,
Front or the back.
John,
Hey,
Calman, hey, Tim. All right, good to see you guys.
Doug, what's up?
And they go out like immediately. Okay.
So,
And
Doug,
I
your channel's
think-
been growing pretty. Let's talk to Doug for 1 second. I apologize, but Doug, your channel's been
Fine,
growing
yeah,
pretty
no,
well.
no.
Your production's getting better, and I've been watching it the last couple of years. So, how many followers you got right now? Not that that really matters, but I'm always curious how much growth you've had that you think you've had over the last couple of years. Where are you at?
16,502.
No kidding.
No, I don't really know.
it's funny, you know what's funny? You know what's funny is Doug texted me the day that he passed me on subs, and it was kind of like he texted me and he goes, it only took me blah 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 years, but now I finally passed you.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
for 5 years, my only real goal was to take out John Kelly, and all it took was him not making a single video for like 2 years, and I managed to catch him. So yeah,
Hey, you passed me, dude. You're like a superstar now.
am I? All right, I'm getting there. Watch out, Dan. Yeah,
Who's
it's
that?
been 5.5 years. 5.5 years, and it's been pretty steady, honestly. I've had a couple, big day, big month, whatever, but honestly, it's just been like one at a time for 5.5 years. So
You put a lot of work in your videos. Though. You put a lot of voiceovers and a lot of editing. How long does it take you to make like one video?
like the shooting just depends on whatever it is. The talking head stuff's usually a couple hours. B-roll's usually a day's worth of hiking.
Jeez.
A couple hours of research, and then half a day of editing. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, if I actually got paid for this, it would be impressive. People are like, "Oh,
I think I sent you $6 today from Hilltop. I think.
Sweet.
I'm not sure.
All right, so I'm up to 2.5 cents an hour at this point. So
nice.
No, it's a labor of love. I mean, if you do it for the money, I mean, I don't know. I've never been able to really pull anything like that off. I mean, you know, it's great getting some free gear for review and stuff, but if you actually like do the math, it would be a like horrific number.
You're going the right direction. I watch a ton of videos, man, and I'm telling you, your videos just keep getting better. So as far as quality goes, it keeps getting better and better and better. So if anybody deserves to grow a little bit, it's definitely you, not John.
Absolutely, I agree, 100%.
I appreciate that, man. It means a lot.
What is your channel actually at right now?
It's a backcountry pilgrim.
How many subs do you have on it as of right now?
It's like 16,500, somewhere in there.
Nice.
Nice.
And when
I've
did
had
you
the
start
same
your
YouTube channel.
Yeah. What's that?
Go ahead,
Ben, quit talking.
Well,
you told me
he's already answered every question you've asked him. He's already answered. So I'm not sure where you were.
Listen, if you don't know this by now, I don't listen 99% of the time. I try. What?
Chad's got moisture in his ears. Chad's got moisture in his ears. He
So
can't hear
much
anything, right?
moisture.
Yeah.
And I'm out in my garage and it's moist. The floor is moist. Everything's moist. So there's too much going on. Would you just say whatever you were going to say, Ben? Because I don't even know what's happening anymore.
He has about 16,000 subs. He started about 5 years ago. There you go.
And I just want to tell you, Chad, UGQ was my very first quilt, and love it. So appreciate you guys.
Nice. Have we ever sent you anything
for free? No.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Moving on. Just kidding.
No, it's been. But you know what? Then I did a video for free, but then to get revenge on you for not sending me anything for free, I did a trash talk quilt video, and I used it for that too. So you know we're pretty even right now.
Perfect. Listen, I don't hold grudges. I actually, when people make videos about us on the YubTub that are not in favor of our company, it may not be a surprise to you that I will show up at your house eventually. And let's just say when that day comes,
honestly, I was kind of hoping that I get a knock on the door.
it will happen. Which video are you referring to? Are you referring to, because I think now that you brought that up, you're referring to the Quillo, aren't you?
No, it actually was not an anti-UGQ. It was a
there
side
was somebody that made a video about a Quillo, or not maybe a video, but a comment about the Quillo saying that it was overrated or something like that, which they're not wrong.
No, I never came out against UGQ. It was a side sleeper sleeping bag video. So I was complaining about quilts for side sleepers, and that was like my little hook to get people to click on it. So I think I'm throwing away my bandit.
Was that the one that got all the comments about it looking like some anatomy? Didn't you have that issue?
It originally did, yeah. I started getting all of this like sexually oriented weird spam stuff coming in, and I realized that it just kind of had that look, and I was like, I'm going to go ahead and flip that over.
It's what, I'm not even going to say it. Well, I am going to say it, but I'm going to be very delicate. Let's just say that there are particular colors that are not in favor of said visualization of said anatomy. That's all I'm going to say. There are those out there that are reminiscent.
I had orange and black, but I'm thinking a lot of bots are probably looking at that and not humans. So
yeah, no, I've had the same feedback before, so it's a thing. But hey, what are you gonna do? So who's got any big trips planned this year? John, you got any big things going on, or Doug? Who's got something big going on that they want to share that they're doing exciting this year? We'll start with Goat's Milk, and we'll work our way around the panel.
So me and my hiking are be setting out on a route that I created a few years back that uses existing trails in the Absaroka Beartooth Wilderness. And it will end up being 154 miles long, 14 days, 32,000 feet of elevation gain, 10 high points, and it's going to cross 2 mountain ranges. So,
and there will probably be goats. So,
lots of milk.
I've been a dad too long. Let's move on. Where did you say that was going to be at? Say that one more time, because I've ADD.
It's we're doing it in the Absaroka Beartooth Wilderness. The 2 mountain ranges in south central Montana, just outside of Yellowstone.
Nice. Well, that sounds like an epic adventure. 150 something miles, 14 days. Yeah, you lost me at the. Well, you lost me pretty much with all of it. If you guys don't remember, my trip with Joe was not extremely lengthy, but it was fun. All right, 2 holes. What do you got going on?
Still working on the plans for a big trip, so not quite sure yet. But I am training for the Allegheny 100 right now. That's a 50-hour timed challenge. There's a 25-mile course, a 50-mile course, 75 and 100-mile, all to compete within 50 hours. I'm doing the 75-miler. This is my first time doing an event like that. It's in June, so it'll require a 20-mile day, 35-mile day, and another 20-mile day, pretty much.
Nice. John, what do you got?
Well, we're waiting on permits.
I heard that echo.
We're waiting on permits for Mount Whitney, so we're hoping that we get to do that one this year. I've been wanting to do Mount Whitney for a long time, and I've never actually backpacked in California, so I keep waiting for Mr. Backpacking or Backcountry Pilgrim to invite me out for a backpacking trip, but he never has. So
my gosh, go to confession, son.
I'm
told
just
you
saying.
to come out here lots. You got to come out here, man. California's where it's at.
What he really means is he's waiting for you to pay for the ticket for him to
That's
come out.
what it is. I'm just waiting for him to pay for it so that I can come.
Did you say California is where it's at?
Everybody's. I'm losing everybody here. There we go. What's that? California. Yeah, come. Anybody. I'll hike with you.
Because I'm pretty sure all 49 states that don't live in California would disagree with you about California.
Well, of course, because they're not us.
Listen, although I live in Michigan, and I can actually say Michigan is not even on the top 10 of my favorite states that I would prefer to live in. So,
hey, I've done 3 of my
Pictured Rocks. Pictured Rocks is incredible up in
Michigan.
Yeah, but that's like not even Michigan. That's basically Canada. So,
that's not wrong.
John, you didn't come out when Mark did the Michigan Triple Crown. I was out there.
No, because that didn't sound fun.
It wasn't. Yeah, you made the right choice.
No, that
but I've come to Kentucky, so you guys both owe me. A California guy flew on, so that's my commitment level.
But didn't you come out for a conference or something, and that's why you were just happened to be in the area?
Well, yeah, but still. I was out there like 3 days ago.
I just now realized that Tim's not here.
Yeah, he's had some problems. He bailed. He sent me a message.
I bet he's still staring at the screen like.
I think he's just trying to get out of this live stream. I think that's.
I didn't know
happening.
If he froze up or if he was just being Tim.
He's always just.
So, so Doug, what do you got going on this year? Anything new, big, exciting plans for 2025?
So my big thing is I've been trying to section hike a lost route called the Tahoe Yosemite Trail. It was starting to get put in and then was kind of like erased largely by the PCT. But my dad backpacked it a couple times, and I'm kind of doing it in his honor. So I work a lot. I don't really have time for a big hike. So I've been just knocking out sections. And the next section's like 40-something miles, 7,000 feet. But I'm just trying to stitch this whole thing together and get all the way to Yosemite. And then I'll have hiked from Lake Tahoe to Yosemite on this like kind of wild a lot of off trail route. So I'm super stoked about that. I'd like to knock that out in the 2025 season.
Good luck to you on that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I've got a 40 and I've got a 70, and then it'll be done.
Are you what's your big plan? Are you ever wanting to get to the point of going YouTube full time? Are you only ever going to do this as a hobby? Like, kind of what's your big picture long term goal for the channel?
I mean, it's at this point, it's basically covering my gas, you know. So if it ever blew up, though, I mean, I would love to go full time. I mean, gosh,
yeah, it looks like
the amount of stuff you like work 10 hours a day would be unbelievable. So we'll see. You know, you never know.
Well, as we dude, he did that on purpose. I wasn't talking to him enough. He was like, I'm too big for this now. If I'm not going to be a part of the chat, I'm out.
He's going to go make some videos so he can catch up to me.
So we got a new guy with us, Brian. First time.
I got to go walk the dog.
First time ever.
You can't say that every time he's on here.
Yes, I can. You didn't ask me what I was doing this year.
I was getting there. We were moving around the panel. I was actually technically next because I'm next in the circle. But fine, you just tell whichever you want.
And nobody cares what you're doing.
I know.
Now, how about Brian? You go first. What are you working on this year, buddy? You got any trips coming up?
Yeah, so I think we're planning on doing a trip to Washington State. So I think we're going to end up doing North Cascades and Olympic, trying to split that up over a week. Originally, I was trying to do the enchantments, but I couldn't get a permit pulled, so we kind of called an audible and did the try to do North Cascades and spend some time in the Olympic too if we can.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I ain't never been on that side of the country, so looking forward to that.
How many trips a year do you on average do, right?
Probably somewhere between 7 to 10.
And they're all like usually 3 days or more.
Yeah, no, gosh, no. I have a job. No, usually weekends.
Gotcha.
Every once in a while, we'll take a Friday off or something like that. Take a half-day Friday. Spend a lot of time over at the Red River Gorge just because it's a lot closer. But yeah, no, it's hard to take week-long trips, and after about 4 days, I'm ready to come home anyway.
So we've got well, actually, Ben, you share, and then I have another segue that I want to talk about real quick while because I think pretty much everybody on here would be more considered weekend backpackers more so than through hikers or section hikers. Overall, I know some of us like to do bigger trips, but I do have some follow-up questions on that topic of a specific aspect of the backpacking or outdoor world that I think is highly controversial. So we'll get into that next. What do you got going on this year, Ben?
So I'm definitely gonna be doing some more trips this year, and it's mostly gonna be flying places or driving places and visiting some people in our space. Like Tim's out there by the Grand Canyon. I gotta go out there and see him while he's there. Yeah, well, when I go to trail days, I'm actually taking the bike with me. I'm actually gonna load this thing up and take it out there for a little trip, and I may take my time on the way back and do something there with that bike. But I do a couple of backpacking trips. I'm sorry, camping trips on the bike, and I really enjoy that because I can sightsee. It's not instead of just hiking all the time. I can actually sightsee and travel around a little bit. That's what I'm looking forward to going out the trail days. But as far as backpacking trips, I don't know if I'll do any real backpacking trips again until fall. I'm probably done for the summer. I might do a couple here and there. We'll see.
Do you got a little trailer for that bike, or you just saddlebag it?
Saddlebag it, man. I can, just because, we all backpack, how to pack pretty light. I have so much space on that bike. Both of the, you can have stuff on the back on both sides, and I have a little tank bag I can put on there. I can load up a lot of gear. Plus I have a small backpack.
What are you like 4.5 hours from Damascus?
If 5 hours if I don't stop, yeah. But I'll take my time. I'm gonna leave Thursday and take my time and get out there.
Yeah, I'm coming down also.
You gonna be there Thursday night?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, I'll be at the Airbnb down in Tennessee on Thursday night. I won't go to the actual event until Friday morning.
I could do a little work Friday morning, but I'll be free by like 10 o'clock, 10:30. Gotta start venturing out.
Yeah, the event usually doesn't pick up till after 10 o'clock anyways on Friday. So so with this whole panel that we have on here right now, one of the things that I have been, being in the outdoor industry and especially being in the quilt side of the industry, there's obviously this whole fad going around about ultralight, and it's not new. It's been going around for a long time. In my experience, I've found that ultralight makes sense as much as you can, but there's certain areas that I don't feel are worth compromising. One of which is being your insulation. There are certain aspects of insulation that I feel like, yes, you can get lighter materials, you can get higher fill powers, you can get less features, and you can continue to shave that thing down. But the more that we've been doing this, the more that we're uncovering that, especially the weekend warriors, which really in the outdoor industry is the largest of the demographics in terms of people that are going out camping. It's usually people going out for weekends at a time. How much of that is more about the experience versus the weight? Because for me and for most of the people I've found in the weekend community, they're more concerned about the overall experience more so than they are concerned about weight. What is your guys' feedback on that? Do you find yourself for weekend trips focusing more on weight or focusing more on experience, luxuries, making sure that your overall time out there is the best that it can possibly be?
I'll go
Whoever
first.
wants
Real quick. Yeah, I'll go first. So I got my gear dialed in pretty well, so I can go as light as I humanly want to. So I know how light I can go, and I add some stuff back in, like the chair. I take a heavier pillow, and so I don't focus so much on weight now. But that's only after I really stripped it down to where I was like almost nothing, and I could go super lightweight. But that was never really my goal. My goal was to be able to bring things back in that really mean a lot to me for a better experience, like you're saying. But I had to get down to a certain weight before I could start adding some of those items back in. My first trip was like 45 pounds, and I was freaking miserable. Now trail weight all in 20 pounds is kind of my target. I'm happy with that. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know it's subjective because everybody has their own, thing that is going to create the best overall experience for them. Some people being as light as possible may give them the best experience because they're really looking to go farther and see more on their trip versus some that are, truly looking to go camp. And my experience has been most people that are actually in the outdoor community are looking to go out and have an experience more than they are obsessing about shaving as much weight out as they possibly can.
Yeah, I was going to say, I agree with that in that sense that, for me, I look at lightweight as an opportunity to be able to bring things that are going to enhance that experience. So if I lose a little bit of weight in this particular item, then that frees up more weight for me to bring like a more comfortable chair or something like that. So I can have that kind of overall experience. And I think also, as a lot of us could probably relate with, is, I'm not 20 years old anymore. And so for me, part of that experience is being able to still be able to do it and not feel like I'm going to die of a heart attack on the way up the hill. So I think for me, I look at weight as a means to an ends for that experience.
Yeah. Well, and that's, my big thing is that obviously being in the insulation side of the industry, I've dealt with so many people that have that toothbrush mentality where they're trying to cut and cut and cut and cut and trim and trim and trim. And when it comes to your insulation, specifically your sleep in general and your overall performance when it comes to your body and how you're producing heat and how well that heat's being trapped, etc., the sleep is one of the most important aspects of your overall experience. And I've found so many people that are so obsessed and so focused on weight that they end up getting a quilt they're right on the verge of it being the right size for them. And so they make that compromise because it's going to save them the most amount of weight. But then when they take it out there and they use it and they realize they could have used that extra 5 inches, they could have used that little bit of extra overstuff, they could have used this particular feature. And so we're learning more and more that more people are realizing that the actual experience when you're out there is what matters most, not what you think is going to give you the best experience, which is shaving weight. And I agree with you that compromise where you can, where it's not going to take away from the areas that are most important. Your food, your sleep system. What was that comment?
Yeah, that's Tim.
Tim being Tim.
Oh yeah. No, we're actually talking serious now, and we're losing followers. We gotta bring the Oh man. See, it just goes to show you that you can't do anything decent on the internet and get views. It's unfortunate.
Quick, someone say moist.
Moist. Doug, what are your thoughts on that, on this topic?
I agree, especially with Kalman, what you just said exactly. Form follows function. I've got heavy gear, I've got light gear. I make a completely different gear loadout every trip I go on because if I'm going to be walking 5 miles, I can bring things that I can't bring if I'm doing 20. So, but I always focus on what do I need to make the trip good, and then if there are any choices left for weight, that's when I start worrying about the ounces. But I never have like a weight goal because none of my gear is ridiculous. I mean, it's all good enough that even if I brought the heaviest stuff I have, it's still going to be a decent trip. So I don't stress on it anymore, and I don't have an ounce goal that I'm trying to hit so I can feel good about myself. I was thinking one thing about like you guys especially. I had never even heard of a quilt until I started, kind of re-gearing up in like 2019 or whatever. And of course, back then, who did you have? You had Darwin, you had Dixie, you have all these through hikers, right? So they're all talking about stuff that they need to make it 3,000 miles. Well, then a pound's going to make a huge deal. Well, then all of you guys start exploding, right? Because you're getting the spotlight and everyone's going, oh my gosh, that's the way to go. I got to get me a quilt. But then, like you say, people start to realize, oh, you know what? I'm not a through hiker. And, some of this stuff is like way more important to them than it is when I'm just going to walk 5 miles with my daughter. So I think it's starting to kind of turn somewhat, that a lot more people are realizing that there's actually different gear for doing different things and not everything is a through hike.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and yeah, that's been our biggest, feedback overall is that having the ability to customize it and choose your fabric types, choose your durability, choose how you want your product to look for your particular type of camping. And I feel like, there's the big box stores where you get what you get and either it works for you or it doesn't. And then you have the cottage companies that are truly trying to focus on the experience. And so you get this other side of it where the industry continues to drive and drive and drive and go lighter and go lighter and go lighter. And then you realize that, hey, now if I roll over and fart the wrong way, I'm blowing a hole in this thing. And, that's, listen, it's going to get to that point. And there's some wicked farts out there, really moist. And so if you are not, I had to insert that. So one thing I want you guys to think about before Brian answers, and I'm going to come back one more time, is think of a circumstance where you cut too much and how much of a negative impact that had on your particular hike, an area where you compromised more than you should because you were so focused on weight and what that negative impact was for you. But before that, think about that. Brian, what are your thoughts on this topic?
Oh, I got a lot of thoughts. So what I've noticed, and I'm only speaking for my trips, which are usually no more than 4 days, is I've got a lot of nice gear, which I'm very fortunate to have, but it depends on the setup. So, for example, if I take my Osprey 65 Atmos from where it has that anti-gravity system on it, it can carry a little bit heavier weight, even though it's a 4.5 pound pack. And honestly, I can't tell a lick of difference between that carrying 35 pounds and my Z-Packs Arc Haul Ultra carrying 20 pounds. Those feel about the same to me. They're both heavy, and I really can't tell a lick of difference when you're going under 8 miles a day. So, I think you can get a little bit too into the ultralight stuff. And what I'm actually more interested in is reducing bulk. Having enough room to put stuff into a backpack. I got a 70-liter Arc Haul, and I can't fit as much into it as I can a 67-liter backpack. So I don't know. I think it's like anything else. I think you can get a little too carried away with it, and I don't think the comfort level is really all that different. I mean, 20 pound that Arc Hall has really thin shoulder straps. It just doesn't carry weight very comfortably, in my opinion. Where that Osprey is a heavier backpack, but it'll carry 35 pounds, the same as the Arc Hall will do 20. So I don't know. I like the ultralight stuff. I think it's fun, and I think it's good to cut weight where you can, but if I'm being real honest, I can't tell a whole lot of difference between those two setups. And
Yeah, well, and that's why we've kind of adopted the new motto of you know, you got to get to a point to where you accept the phrase light enough. Like you've cut enough out of this to where if you go any further, you're going to start compromising your experience. And
Yeah.
you know, that's something that we're focusing heavily on, is making sure that our products are light enough, but not compromising the durability and the functionality and the practicality of the product itself. And, you know, when you're buying something that, you know, in our case has a lifetime warranty and, you know, is something that, you know, has a more of like an investment type price tag attached to it, as opposed to something that you're just going to impulsively buy. And so we want to make sure that if you're buying that product that's designed to last you a lifetime, and I feel like the way that the technology is going, the fabrics are compromising to a point that I'm no longer comfortable with. And so I've kind of put my foot down as, you know, the owner of UGQ and said, look, I'm not comfortable offering anything less than a 10D fabric on our quilts, because those that are coming out with 7D and 5D fabrics, they're getting more returns than they're getting anything else, because those fabrics just aren't standing up. They're getting, you know, they stuff it in their backpack because that's what they're used to doing, and then it brushes up against their titanium spoon and rips a big hole in it.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like you said, the difference between a 7D quilt versus a 20D quilt, you're talking maybe 5 ounces total on the entire quilt. And is it really worth the compromise of durability to go that light to shave 5 ounces? And in my experience, the answer is absolutely not. It's not worth it. You know,
Well, you got to
especially when you're
remember,
looking.
I have a very nice UGQ quilt. My wife bought me for Christmas a couple years back. It's a 20 degree. It's extra wide, and it was, very expensive. It's a very expensive piece of gear. It's very nice. I love it. Uh, I wouldn't want it made out of anything thinner. I'd like that quilt should last me a very, very long time. And if it's made out of a thinner material, you're going to have to charge more money for it, because it's also going to be lighter, and I'm liable to only get a year or two use out of it. And that would be very disappointing for me as a consumer, because you're talking $450 quilt, and that's a shame if you can't get more than a couple years out of it. And it's not really your fault. You're making it out of a thinner material. It's obviously going to be less durable. There's a balance to be had, and I think my quilt that I have right now, I think that balance has been found. It's a 20 degree quilt. You already overstuff it, and so it's actually a real 20 degrees, and it's like 26 ounces or something real close to that. That's at some point in time, you got to accept the fact that you're carrying a bunch of crap in the woods. It's going to have some weight.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to get any lighter than that on that quilt, just so it'll last me.
And how much weight are you really saving from going down to, like you said, 10 was the lowest you have now, and going down to a 7? Or how much weight are you really saving at that point? Probably not much.
Literally, on the grand scheme of a quilt, you're talking a couple ounces, which, if it's worth, like, you can literally find a couple ounces elsewhere to shave out of your total pack that is not compromising your sleep. And
Right.
That's where people go wrong, because they're like, well, the recommendation, for somebody that's 5'9" is a regular length, but the regular length fits up to 5'9", which means you're right on that cusp. So is it worth getting the next size up to make sure that you have that little bit of leeway in case you get, a colder night and you want a little bit more to tuck? Like, we're talking a handful of ounces, but there's been so many people with this huge ultralight fad where they're like, well, I got to shave every ounce out of it I possibly can. And then they get it, they take it out and realize that it was a little narrower than they're comfortable with. And that cold spot hits them in the back. And they're like, dang, I should have went with the quilt that was actually one size larger, because I am, an active sleeper, or, I sleep in my stomach, or whatever the case is. And, I found a lot of YouTubers I worked with, one of which being Devin Ashby with Backcountry Exposure. The first time we sent him a quilt, he was getting the lightest possible quilt. Same with Darwin. When we sent Darwin his first quilt, it was the same thing. Let's make the most minimalist version of it. Turns out it wasn't the right size, and their experience sucked. And as a result, they didn't like the product. And when you get the right size product and you make the appropriate compromises, you realize that, hey, look, this experience with this particular product is unlike anything else, because not only is it custom fit for me, but it's right sized. It's covering all of the needs that my particular body type, my sleep style has. And I don't think there's enough emphasis on focusing on the experience over the weight. And yes, I get like the need for weight, but I'm very adamant about the sleep aspect of it, because we've all been on backpacking trips where we did not sleep good because we were cold and we were uncomfortable. We were fighting with our sleep system, whatever the reason is, and how much of an impact that has on your overall time out in the woods. And For me, it's just not something that I think is worth the compromise to go too far into that ultralight realm.
So here's my question to you, Chad. I have a question, and I'm sorry there, goat's milk, but so with that information in mind, what are you planning on doing with UGQ moving forward? You gonna focus on maybe some more robust or more durable, and then selling it that way? Is that kind of your radar? Is there anything you want to talk about? Or
put out last year I put out a video on Instagram. It was more of a comedic style video, but it was genuinely a durability test on our fabrics. And that test, I literally took a stick that I found outside and scratched it as hard as I could against the fabric. I took a spork that had a titanium spork and I scraped it on the fabric as hard as I could. And then I took a zipper and I literally zippered it up and down and did everything I could with it with the zipper to demonstrate that this fabric is like ridiculously durable. And it's a 20D fabric. That's our standard outer shell on our quilts is a 20D fabric. And that fabric is so strong for the weight that I don't know if there will ever be anything that will compete with a nylon 20D ripstop fabric in terms of the weight to durability ratio. I don't think anything will ever compete with it. And I think that that's the place that I will probably always stay for our default products. And I can absolutely advertise those as being very robust because in the grand scheme of the outdoor world, people want lightweight, but they don't want lightweight to the point to where they have to be babysitting it constantly. So, for me, I think putting your products in the right market, we've expanded into the hunting community, the bushcraft community, a lot of these other communities where they're using their quilts in different applications. A lot of these guys are literally using their quilts while they're at camp, to wear around them. Guys that are out hunting, sitting up on mountainsides while they're glassing for animals. They're literally wrapped up in their camouflage quilts because it's a better alternative. They can stuff it in their day pack, a quillo, something so lightweight and packable that's camouflage that they can take out with them. So, I don't see us trending with the evolution of fabrics going lighter. I think that we're going to see that continue to push the boundaries, and then you're going to see it come back because people are going to realize that you've compromised fabric too far and it becomes tissue paper at that point that, yes, it's light and, great. You were able to hike an extra mile from the guy that, doesn't have to worry about his sleep system. Is it worth it? In my mind, not worth it. I don't know if that answered your question or not.
It did. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it is, especially in our space where a lot of the marketing goes towards weight. It's definitely hard to stand out when you're saying, well, we're not the lightest, but it's going to last you a long time. When the core audience is looking for like, what's the lightest? At least a lot of the new guys, when they get into it, that's where they're spending all their money. So trying to find a balance of, no, you're right. I'm saying you're right, but finding a balance of how you sell that as being lightweight and durable it's a good balance. And that, I think you should focus on that. I think you're right.
Well, I think, we're seeing now more than ever that ultralight is actually the smallest of all of the demographics out there. In terms of the outdoor space, it's actually one of the smallest niche markets there is. And so the emphasis that's been applied to that, I think it's easy to get sucked into channels like Darwin and Dixie and all them ones that are really focusing on these big through hikes. And when you watch those channels as a weekend camper and you try to mimic those styles of camping, you realize that they're not actually the same. They're fundamentally different in every way. And so, looking at the majority of who's buying these types of products, it's actually people that are more concerned about the overall experience than people that are concerned about the weight. I'm fine with the other companies that are pursuing being the lightest thing out there. Great. Let that be their thing. We're the most customizable and we'll always have that. Nobody will ever beat us on customization and making products that are truly tailored to the individual body. And so I think as that's enough for us to stand out, and we can take that and do so many things with it that I don't have any need or desire to pursue being the lightest product on the market. That's just not what I see as the future. I think it's going to come back full circle to where everyone's going to realize that, listen, this was a fad. It was exciting when it happened, but everything's falling apart because it's too thin.
But yeah, selling the customization side of things, that's pretty much what we focus on is our customization. And we've really made an effort to drive kind of a wedge between the Dyneema users and some of the other fabrics we use. Dyneema is still super strong. It's actually stronger than what it needs to be for the application. but the price you got to pay for it is so high. It's only going to get higher. That's what we've tried to focus on, some other alternative fabrics, a little more affordable. But again, we can cut. It's not just cheaper; we can customize the crap out of it, and that is something that's really helped us out too. Is that focusing on the customization while also trying to say, hey, this is just slightly heavier, but it's like half the price. And
it's light enough, right? And
it's like a secondary message, but the customization absolutely leads the way for sure, because it's hard to. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to ask you, do you find that people who are not trying to buy something for lightweight backpacking, so hunters or other use cases, do you find that they buy synthetic more, or do they still go with the down?
That's a good question. So I try to really educate people on the pros and cons versus the two, and I'm extremely overwhelmingly biased towards down, specifically because it is naturally hydrophobic. It is literally comes from a waterfowl. So down itself is naturally hydrophobic. It naturally repels water, and so what you really get into when you come down to the insulation is the real emphasis is actually more on the fabric than it is on what's beneath the fabric, because what saturates first on a quilt or a sleeping bag is not the insulation, it's the outer layer, it's the fabric. And the saturation of that fabric is then what continues to penetrate into the inner insulations. But the reality is that if you fall into a river with your down quilt or your synthetic quilt, it's really not going to make a difference. The only difference is that synthetic is going to maintain its loft, but the fabric is soaking wet and freezing cold. And if you have that against your skin, you're not going to get warm. And so,
I wasn't actually even going from that perspective. I was actually more going towards cost, because getting wet's going to suck regardless of what kind of insulation you got. But synthetic insulation is generally a lot cheaper than down. And I just kind of wonder if other use cases are willing to pay the ultralight tax on down as opposed to
3 times as bulky, which is the biggest downturn of synthetic is the bulk. It doesn't.
The other thing you have to consider with synthetic is, although it has a lower initial cost, synthetic, it's getting better, but for the long time, synthetic actually breaks down on its own in a sense, and it starts to lose its temperature rating after generally about 5 to 10 years. So whereas a down bag, it's pretty well maintained, will last 30 to 40 years. So although you are spending less initially, you get a longer lasting product if you take care of the down. That is, obviously there's rules there.
Plus, so in a down application, you can add more down the road, where you can't really do that with synthetic, because the most commercially available synthetics are sheet synthetics, not loose fill or blowable synthetics. So, you have the ability to maintain, like he's saying, the lifespan of the quilt, because then you can come back in and you can add additional down to it to regain its loft and maintain that performance. Whereas synthetic, like he said, it's a man-made material that's going to break down, and you can't stuff more sheets into a quilt that's already sewn through to begin with. So, there's always pros and cons. I think, synthetic has its place more so in apparel than it does in sleep systems. Jackets that you're going to be out hiking in that are going to get saturated on the outside. And you don't want to worry about compromising the insulation in that context. But as far as sleep systems are concerned, I'm not a fan. We used to have a synthetic option of each of our products, and honestly, the cons far outweigh the pros of it, so we discontinued all of them because I just don't see the benefit of the synthetic in our particular application. And I've had this talk with a few other people on different podcasts, one of which being Devin with Backcountry Exposure, and him and I came to a pretty unanimous consensus that it has its best application in the apparel side of things, not so much in sleep systems. For a variety of reasons. Down just has more benefits. Yes, it's more expensive, but again, when you're talking, how many times do you want to buy the same product in your life? Do you want to buy it once? Do you want to buy it 5 times? And for me, it's understanding that our products have lifetime warranties. That means that we stand by the material that we use, and we stand by the fact that it's not going to break down in its lifespan. And in the time that you own that quilt, if 25 years from now the fabric starts breaking down, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get you a new quilt. That's the value that you're paying for by paying that extra premium, because lifetime warranties are something that most people kind of just glance over nowadays. But when you're buying something that costs $500-$600, that lifetime warranty is rolled into that price, which means when inevitably that quilt breaks down, you're going to be able to get it replaced. And that value alone pays for itself in your lifetime of owning that particular product. So, I just don't get hung up on being the cheapest either. I don't want to be the lightest and I don't want to be the cheapest, because we have highly skilled people that deserve to be praised for their skill and deserve to be paid for their skill. And if you don't want that, then go get it on Amazon. You know what I mean? Go get it on Timo. Go get it wherever you want to get it to save the money.
I only asked
Yes,
you because I
Michael,
thought you still had synthetic. I remember you had it a long
I
time
actually
ago.
I don't have anything synthetic. The
No.
loose fill synthetic that we had broke down over time and actually started clumping up so bad that we couldn't get it to redistribute through the quilts. So we actually discontinued those products, and people that have our synthetic quilts, they actually have the ability to contact us and say, hey, look, our quilts broke down, and they actually get that quilt replaced with a down equivalent of that quilt.
Wow.
So it sucks but we stand by our products. So we've, in the
That's
last
awesome.
year and a
Well,
half, we've
I'm old.
replaced, I think, 3 synthetic quilts.
I think I'm gonna have to buy a UGQ quilt now.
Oh, you don't have one?
Not yet.
How are we even friends?
No. Sorry, I had a Western Mountaineering quilt.
No,
I do want
listen,
to get a UGQ.
there's so many good quilt manufacturers out there. So many good backpack manufacturers. So many good tent manufacturers. Again, I don't get hung up on any of that. I think that what we do as a company goes far beyond the products that we make. I think, we focus heavily on engaging with the community and helping share our story, but also, we get more feedback from the communities of people who don't have access to backpacking gear, because there are very few companies that are willing to make a quilt that's 90 inches wide, or make one that's for NFL players that are 6'9", 390 pounds. It's like, you can't buy something commercially available to work for them for a sleep system. And so we are that niche market that says, look, we can make a product literally for anyone. And not only that, but we can make it fit your exact body type, your sleep style, and your overall style of camping, to a point where you're not going to find a better experience with a product than this one, because it is made literally for you. And so that's what we do, and that's where we stand out. And I don't really care what anybody else is doing, honestly. I just don't, because we meet a need in the market that nobody else is, and I'm good with it. I'm good with being that need for people and helping give access to the outdoors that people otherwise wouldn't have if it wasn't for companies like us. So I don't know.
Well, guys, we are coming up on an hour and a half. Is there anything else you guys want to throw in it before we hang up our headphones? Anything else, guys?
Sorry, Ben. I didn't mean to get him wound up.
I'm telling you, start talking. You know what, though? I do want to say one thing, because you guys talk for 15 minutes about getting down and synthetic stuff wet. You missed so many opportunities to use the word moist, and I'm a little disappointed.
Damn.
But I know.
That is true.
Anything else you guys want to throw in there real quick? Anything else
Nope.
going on?
Thanks for having me along.
Get down to
Well,
Trail Days. If you haven't ever
yes.
been there, come to Trail Days. Come see us, see all the amazing vendors down there. If you're new to cottage companies, it's a great place to go to see all the new upcoming cottage companies doing some really awesome custom stuff. So be sure to come and check that out. Check out everybody's YouTube channels. Brian, you don't have a YouTube channel or Instagram or anything like that, do you?
Yeah, man. I got 1 subscriber.
Hey, all right.
Go subscribe to Brian. What's your YouTube channel?
I think it's just my name.
There you go.
There you
Find
go.
that name on YouTube and go subscribe.
Yeah, as far as Trail Days, I mean, definitely, if you're planning on going, if you're watching this later on, if you're watching it tonight, shoot me a message. I'm going to meet up with anybody that wants to meet up for a few minutes. I'm just going there for the full experience. I'm not working. I'm there just to have a good time. So shoot us a message on our Facebook page. We'll set a time up to meet up, and it's my first time, so I'm excited.
John said that his wife is making that shirt right now that says Chad Moist. What was it? Moist valuable player. She's making it for me right now.
That is amazing.
That's a,
I hope he films that conversation with her. I got this idea for a shirt.
You're not gonna believe this.
That's going to be a whole thing. I'm certain of it. So, listen, Brian, Goat's Milk, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Always a pleasure. Coupon code for UGQ Outdoor. One of the only active coupon codes right now on UGQ's website. There are a few, but one of the main ones that's active is Ben is awesome. Use that code at UGQOutdoor.com for 10% off. Ben, if you want to share your coupon code, I know you've got a couple going on right now. You want to share any of those real quick?
If you want to get a discount at Hilltop Packs, you can go to hilltoppacks.com and use the code CHADISOK for 10% off. And that is a real code, and it'll be there forever. Even if I find a new friend named Chad, and it'll be about him and whatever.
You need to just need to change it to Chad is moist.
Chad is moist.
I'm not doing that.
7% off.
Yes, and then
Oh,
here is another active coupon code on UGQ's website. So yeah, be sure to buy something. We also just dropped these new hats. I've been the only one to own one of these hats for the last year and a half. We finally now have these hats available on the website. So if you want one, go buy it. Other than that,
bring me one. I ain't buying it. Bring me one.
Okay.
All right.
You got it, boss.
All right. Take us home, Chad.
Isn't that what I just did? Or no?
I don't know. I always screw up your ending.
I'm so good at outros. Follow Hilltop Packs on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Ben is literally always working, always got stuff in the works. He is known by everyone pretty much in the backpacking space for his food bags. He says he's making more backpacks this year. I can't wait to get one because I can't wait to try it and see how awesome it is. So yeah, check out Hilltop Packs. I guarantee you, absolutely guaranteed, there's something that you need and or want on his website. So go explore it, check it out. Great company. They're doing awesome things. And also buy some coffee. Hey, can you bring me some coffee down a trail days? Because I need some.
I will bring
put an order
in my backpack. I'll have a kit ready that I can make coffee at any given time. So yes, we will make some coffee.
Okay, but I also need some bags to be able to bring home with me. So
I'll do that.
I'll
too.
hit you up on what I need you to bring for me.
I might just ship.
Check out
Hilltop Packs.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Fine. Goat's Milk, actually also really known as Ghost Mule, and Brian. You guys are all awesome. Yeah, that's it. We should be on here next week. I will hopefully be on here next week. We will both probably be packing Wednesday night, but we'll probably try to make it work regardless. So
we'll make Devin lead next week.
Yeah, but I'm also going to make Devin have a plan for next week, and we're going to do something. I have an idea, so we're going to force it on him next week. And also for all of you that are listening, next week I am doing a giveaway on here. I will be giving away one of these hats next week on here. So be sure to tune in next week for the chance to win a UGQ fitted, embroidered, flex fit hat. Bingo. That's it.
It's pretty sweet. Not gonna lie.
It is pretty sweet.
It is pretty.
Think it'll fit my big head?
I worked really hard on the design. You can't tell. I put the logo there. All right. Well, that's it. What do you got? If you got anything else, if not, that's it for this week. We love you all. Buy more stuff from your local cottage companies. Continue to support local, made in USA. That's that. Adios.
Later.
Bye.